Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to the Game According to Me. This is my podcast where we talk about what's going on in sports. I've not done a podcast in a while. I've mentioned this before. It's very hard to do it's so easy during football season because you can talk about college and pro each and every weekend. You have something to talk about. And, but then once football ends, it's kind of hard because, sure, basketball is happening every day. But you don't get to watch like every game, and same thing with baseball. Baseball happens every day, but you're not really watching probably too many national games a week. You probably watch your home team games or something like that, and other things happen throughout the season, throughout the week that are. That you don't get the chance to see by watching Sports Center or anything like that. You may miss. So it's always very hard to do a podcast. At least for me, it's been hard to do a weekly or bi-weekly podcast. During the non-football seasons. So at least that's how I feel. But today we're gonna do one because we've had a gluttony of sports this month, this week. My God, trade deadline, the NBA draft, Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC. The Olympics are going on right now as well. Well, again, update on the Olympic medal count if you guys have not been following it too closely and haven't heard anything. The NBA Finals was this month, a couple weeks ago. Great NBA Finals. So, a lot of stuff we are here to talk about. We are once again doing a simulcast. We are doing this on YouTube and also on podcasts on Anchor.fm or wherever you may find your podcasts. This is it's probably gonna be a long one, so sit back, grab a popcorn or a drink or some wings or anything like that. And if you enjoy sports talk, I'm gonna give it to you. So let's go ahead and let's start with the NBA Finals. So the NBA Finals happened earlier this month, like I mentioned before. Phoenix Suns against the Milwaukee Bucks. First time Phoenix Suns have been in the NBA Finals since 1993. That dramatic series against the Chicago Bulls, which the Bulls won. Milwaukee hadn't made the finals in over 70 years or something like that, or something crazy. It was their first thing. We had, and going into the NBA Finals, we had Giannis still recovering from the hyperextension of his knee, and it was thought that he was not going to play, at least in the first couple games of the series, but well, odd question, he did, and he came back in game 1 of the series, and he was good. He played 35 minutes, had 20 points and 17 rebounds. He was incredible. He was incredible that first game. Wasn't enough. The Phoenix Suns were really good as well with the help of Devin Booker. He had 27. DeAndre Ayton had 22. Chris Paul had 32, 9 assists, 4 rebounds. So, the first game went to the Phoenix Suns, and they came off to a 1-0 start. Now, before the series started, I had said that I had believed that this was going to be a home team series where the home team was going to win every game, and I had the Suns winning in 7, winning in their game at home. And it started off like that. This game 2 was another, incredible game. Especially and particularly for Giannis. He came out again, still on the knee, came out the block, had 42 points, 12 rebounds. Incredible. He was, he played 40 minutes again on that knee. So incredible. Once again, the Suns scored 118 points to beat on 118-108. Mikal Bridges had a nice night. Devin Booker shot again. Chris Paul doing his thing. It was an incredible game. The game 2 went to Phoenix, and then Phoenix went up 2-0. And then we went to Milwaukee, and Milwaukee showed up and showed out for their team at the Deer District. They had a whole bunch of people in the Deer District. It was just insane to watch. A lot of teams, are going to be doing that. I think, for like the playoffs. That was happening in hockey. It didn't happen in Phoenix. I think Phoenix skipped theirs and closed, but the Deer District was incredible. Third game, maybe the only true blowout of the game or the series, the Milwaukee Bucks. For the Suns, they just, they didn't have it that night. They couldn't hit shots, and things were not going down their way. But the Milwaukee Bucks, again, Giannis, 41 points, 13 rebounds. Drew Holiday had some play. Chris Middleton, who in this series, Chris Middleton, I think, proved to everybody that he was an all-star. But I don't think people really looked at Chris Middleton as something special. He was just an all-star type player. But I think Chris Middleton proved to me that he was more than just he was just more than just a guy, who was an all-star. He was actually a very good player. And he stepped up big in a lot of these games. Especially he stepped up big, in the Atlanta series, the Eastern Conference Finals, when once Giannis went down, he stepped up and played big. Game 4 of the series, Milwaukee won 109-103. Devin Booker with a 42-point game, game thing. I wonder if this was the game where he had 5 fouls. I don't know. It doesn't show. But this might have been the game. This might have been the next game. It might be game 5, in which he had the 5 fouls. But he had 42 points, but it just wasn't enough. The only one over 20 points at all. The highest next person was Jay Crowder with 15. But once again, we talk about Giannis, 26 points, 14 rebounds, and I just talked about Chris Middleton. He had 40 points. He was incredible, and the Milwaukee Bucks tied the series at 2. Now we're going back to Phoenix, the hometown, and at one point in this game, Phoenix did have a lead. They had a lead, but the Milwaukee Bucks. It was. I think it was game 4. I think it was game 4 because they were on the road. They were on the road when Devin Booker got the 5 fouls. So he was on the road. But game 5 at home, and Milwaukee came back. They had a lead. The Phoenix Suns had a lead at some point. It was 37-21 after the first half, after the first quarter, and then Milwaukee just smoked them in the second quarter, 43-24, and then 36-29 in the third quarter. And if Phoenix went, they had 29 and beating 29-23, this wasn't enough. Giannis once again with another great performance, 32 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Chris Middleton, 29 points. Drew Holiday, his best game of the series, 27 points, 13 assists. That was just too much for the Phoenix Suns. And again, Devin Booker had another 40-point game. Chris Paul had 20 points, 11 assists. DeAndre Ayton, 20 points, 10 rebounds, but it just wasn't enough. This wasn't enough. And one of the things that happened during this series was that they decided to take Chris Paul either full court or quarter court. They didn't let him get a running start or walk the ball up or anything like that. He always had to, he always had pressure. He always had defensive pressure on him, whether it was Drew Holiday or whether it was somebody else. Maybe T came in sometimes, or maybe it was even Chris Middleton. But he always had pressure on him. Mostly it was Drew Holiday, and Drew Holiday had made a fantastic play in that game 5 series, in the game 5 game to end it. He took the ball away from Devin Booker when Devin Booker was trying to get to his spot, and he did a fantastic job. And then, of course, to close out game 6 in Milwaukee. And again, Phoenix Suns had a lead. If you look at this, right? If you look at this, Milwaukee beat them in the first quarter 29-16. In the second quarter, Phoenix Suns had them 31-13. And the third quarter, Phoenix had them 30-35. Now, if I remember correctly, I think they were tied. I think they were tied at the end of the third quarter. So let's see. Yeah, they were tied at the end of the third quarter because they won by 7. So and then that's the points of the fourth quarter, 28-21, and it was just over. Good game. Chris Paul and Devin Booker had probably his worst game of the series. Only 19 points. Chris Paul had 26 points, but it just wasn't enough. Unfortunately, once again, we had Giannis Antetokounmpo going crazy with 50 points, 14 rebounds, and in this game he hit like 17 of 19 free throws, or even more than that. So he had been all playoffs long. He was awful from the line, but when it came to clutch time, he hit the majority of his free throws. It was like 7 of 19, 18 of 20, or 19 of 21, or something like that. And he was just incredible. And he won, and Milwaukee won the series 4-2. He was named the MVP, and he had fun afterwards, going and like Chick-fil-A nuggets and like that, 50 of them, and driving in his car, being on Instagram Live, and he was having fun, and they had fun at the thing. PJ Tucker was going crazy at the Bobby Portis. He had become a Milwaukee legend, in his former Chicago Bull, becoming a Milwaukee legend. This playoffs with the stuff he did, not only filling in for Giannis, but the stuff he did when Giannis was there and when Giannis was not. So he did that was a great job. He did a wonderful job, and congratulations to Milwaukee Bucks. They are the champions, and I think what this hopefully does do is that this does give some other teams some hope that you can build a team. And the Warriors were that way. They built the team where when they added Kevin Durant in free agency, this became a whole different story. But they had built their team, and that's what this was. The Milwaukee Bucks pretty much had built their team. They had free agent pieces anyway, but I think Chris Middleton was their draft pick, and obviously Giannis was their draft pick. Pat Connaughton is their draft pick, I believe. But the biggest thing is that it's not a bunch of superstars. Because like I said, Chris Middleton showed he's more than an all-star, but he's still not a superstar. Drew Holiday is a very good player. I wouldn't say that they have a big three. It's still Giannis and others, but it's almost like you got the superstar, you got the all-star, then you got the could be all-star, and then you got some great role players to help them out. And that shows that can be, and so if you're Damian Lillard, you don't have to leave Portland, but maybe you didn't need another. Maybe you need something more than his running mate in the backcourt, C.J. McCollum. Maybe you need more than C.J. McCollum. Maybe you need more than Yusuf Nurkic and all of the other players around him. And he doesn't need different players. Maybe he doesn't need, he doesn't need to leave Portland. So, I think a lot of those things could be more suitable for them. So, and for the Phoenix Suns, it's, I think it's unfortunate because I'm not sure if they're going to be, I'm not sure if they're going to get back there, at least very soon. With LeBron and the Lakers still there, the Clippers are if they have Kawhi and Kawhi is healthy, they're still a threat. The Lakers just got Russell Westbrook, so that could be something. And then the Warriors, Clay is coming back, and to have a healthy Clay finally, a healthy Steph Curry, a healthy Draymond Green, an emerging Wiseman and Andrew Wiggins as well that can put the ball. They can still be a threat, to this, to the Western Conference. So I'm just not sure about the Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul is a free agent. He has an option year. He can go back, or he can go free agency. So who knows what he's going to do. So I just kind of feel bad that, because I thought maybe this is their best year. This might be the best year for both teams, because if you look on the East as well, you know, um, with Kyrie and James Harden and Kevin Durant, they're both with Harden and Irving being hurt, Kevin Durant doing it by himself. If Irving and Harden were there and they were healthy, I don't think the Bucks get by the Nets. I don't. I just think they're too good. So then next year, and then who knows what's going to happen with the Sixers, and the Sixers, and there was going to be some talk about trading Ben Simmons on draft night. That did not happen. So I don't know if they're going to trade him or keep him. It looks to be over in Philadelphia for both parties want a new direction there. So I think that's going to happen sometime in the off season. I'm not sure where or who or what. And and then there's always Boston, because Boston has Tatum, and they have Brown, and that's a really good player. And Kemba Walker is well, actually they traded Kemba Walker actually. But they don't have Kemba Walker anymore, so who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's happening in Boston? I would say that, but the Nets and Philly, I think, are the ones that would come out of the East, and Milwaukee's still going to be there, but I wouldn't expect them to beat either team next year if they're full strength, and depending on what Philly gets for Simmons, Milwaukee could be better, but I would still say they probably would have a hard time with Philly. They probably go 7-game series. So that's what the NBA Finals, and like I said, I thought it was a great 6-game series. Personally, I was kind of rooting for the Suns. I wanted Chris Paul to get his, but happy for the Milwaukee Bucks, happy for Giannis Antetokounmpo, and happy for the city of Milwaukee. I think next we're gonna just go from the NBA Finals to the NBA Draft. Why not? All right, so the NBA Draft was this past Thursday. This is where we also found out about the trade for Russell Westbrook from the Lakers from the Wizards to the Lakers. And found out that Tristan Thompson was traded as well. We'll get to that to a second. But let's just quickly go run down the draft, who was drafted and where. This is from The Athletic. Because I guess what they did like the trade things and things like that or something like that. So I'm not sure, but I'm just going to read them down what it is. Cade Cunningham was first overall pick, Oklahoma State. He went to Detroit. Jalen Green from the G League went to Houston. Evan Mobley went to Cleveland. Scotty Barnes from Florida State went to Toronto. Jalen Suggs from Gonzaga went to Orlando. Josh Giddey from Australia went to Oklahoma City. Jonathan Kuminga from the G League went to Golden State. Franz Wagner from Michigan went to Orlando. Davion Mitchell from Baylor went to Sacramento. Zaire Williams from Stanford went to Memphis via New Orleans. I guess that's what that means. There's always these bunch of trades that's happened. James Bouknight went from Connecticut, went to Charlotte. Joshua Primo, Alabama, went to San Antonio. Chris Duarte from Oregon went to Indiana. Moses Moody, he went from Arkansas to Golden State. If you have not seen the clip of Kendrick Perkins just not being able to say his name, Moses Moody, oh my god, that's just hilarious. It cracks you up. Look for it. Look for it on Twitter. Just search Kendrick Perkins, and it should show up. And it's just the funniest goddamn thing. You Moses Moody. I tell you. Oh. Woo. Okay, so Corey Kispert from Gonzaga went to Washington. Alperen Sengun from Turkey. He was got to, I guess, Houston via Oklahoma City. Trey Murphy III from Virginia. New Orleans via Memphis. Trey Mann from Florida went to Oklahoma City. Kai Jones of Texas went to Charlotte via New York. Jalen Johnson went to Duke. From Duke went to Atlanta. Keon Johnson, Tennessee, went to the Clippers via New York. Isaiah Jackson of Kentucky went to the Pacers via the Wizards via the Lakers. Whatever the hell that meant. Usman Garuba of Spain went to Houston. Joshua Christopher of Arizona State went to Houston. Houston with a lot of draft picks, probably from the James Harden trade and many other trades that they made with Chris Paul and Oklahoma City and other things like that. Quentin Grimes of Houston went to New York via the LA Clippers. Bones Highland of VCU went to Denver. Cameron Thompson of LSU went to Brooklyn. Jaden Springer of Tennessee went to Philadelphia. Day'Ron Sharp of North Carolina went to Brooklyn via Phoenix. And Santi Aldama of Loyola Marymount. I'm guessing that what it means. Loyola Maryland went to Memphis via Utah. So those were the 31st round picks of the NBA draft. And like we talked about, Tristan Thompson was dealt to the Atlanta Hawks for Chris Dunn, center Bruno Fernando, and a 2023 second round pick. And of course, as we talked about, Westbrook was traded to the Lakers to set up with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. It doesn't have here what the big, but I think it's like Montrezl Harrell. I think Kyle Kuzma went as well. Some other stars. So yeah, that's what happened. My Bears and my Bulls with the Bears at the end. But my Bulls, they traded their pick to Orlando for Vucevic. So I think that was the eighth pick. That was Franz Wagner. They took with our pick, the Orlando Magic. So, but glad to see some people, making some picks. We'll see what goes down in the new year. Obviously, when the basketball season gets ready to start, I will have my predictions and preview and talk about everything under the sun of the NBA. So yeah, be sure to look out for that. So let's give you a quick update on the Olympics and the medal count. We're looking at the top 5. China is the number 1 with 46, followed by Japan with 30. Hold on, wait a minute. What the hell? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so they're going by gold medals. Okay, so I apologize, this is on Google. China has 21 gold medals, that's why it's in first, but they have 46 overall. Japan has 17 gold medals, they have 30 overall. United States has 16 gold medals with 46 overall. They're tied with China for 1 overall. ROC, they have 11 gold medals, 37 overall. And Australia has 10 gold medals. They have 27 overall. So that's what it is right now. We still got a whole bunch of other ways to go. There are more games to be played. Team USA, after losing their first one, they've won their last few, so good for them. Hopefully they will make it back to the gold medal game and win gold medal for the USA in basketball. We've got other sports that are happening. But let's quickly touch on the Simone Biles and the thing with the Olympics. She was just announced yesterday, a couple days ago, she announced that she was pulling out of the teams. And apparently it was something having to do with, when she was doing her flips or something like that, she mentally wasn't there, so she pulled out of that, and she's out. And then yesterday, I believe it was announced that she pulled out visuals that are going to be happening next. So, and there's two sides of this. We have one side that says, well, she quit on her. She's quit on her team, on her country. She just quit, and and that's just a shame because she's the best that we have in the Olympics, and she's decided to just quit. And some are saying, well, she said mentally that she can't do it. It's part of her mental health. You gotta, if you mentally cannot do all those highs and flips and things like that, you can hurt yourself. And so if you're not mentally there, then you don't need to be there. You could probably hurt your team even more than what than what you need to. So there's a lot of things on this. Here's my take on it, and I'll say this. I'll say this on two levels. One, I see both sides. I see why the mentally health is so important. It's like the thing with Naomi Osaka, right? Like if she quit because she couldn't do it, and that's totally fine. And then if you can't mentally handle it, then you should do stuff for your mental health. But I also believe that answering questions from the people is your job. That's your job. And if that's something that you can handle, then you just need to if don't ask tennis to change, because they've been doing that for years, and that's what to do. People who are a fan of tennis want to hear from you, and they hear from you through the media, and that's the way it needs to be. And if you can't handle that, then you need to stop playing tennis. And I think that's the same thing for here. It's actually not the same thing, but it's a little bit different. If mentally you can't, get over, whatever it is you get over, then and if you could hurt yourself, then you don't need to be out there. But I also think that, if to quit on your team now in the Olympics does seem to be a bit like, come on, really? You can't push through it just a little bit. So I see both sides of it. That's one fold. The second fold is, and this is something here that I saw, and it's about what's his face, Michael Che. He made reference to, or he reposted some jokes about Simone Gile on his Instagram story, I guess it was, and they are stories about the unfortunate situation that happened with her and many others on the Team USA squad with the Dr. Larry Nassar, sexually assaulting these women and things like that. They were girls at the time. And I'm not defending Michael Che for whatever the jokes. It's probably in poor taste. It's probably things are not. We live in a world now where maybe those jokes nowadays are not, whether they're funny or not. They're probably not. They're probably not in good reference, because now you will get canceled over them if you tell them whether they're funny or not. It doesn't matter, because you just shouldn't be saying them. So it's probably better off that he left it alone. But I saw a lot on Twitter yesterday that because Michael Che's black, he should be defending Simone Biles. No, it's not the case. We have to stop that, y'all. Just because somebody else, some people are black, doesn't mean that they should automatically be like, well, I'm going to defend this person because they're black. No, that's not the case. If Michael Che wanted to make jokes about Simone Biles, have I been calling her Simone Giles? If I have, I apologize. It's Simone Biles. But if you want to make jokes about her that were not about the rape or anything like that, but want to make jokes about her being soft or something like that or whatever, which I've heard as well. Oh yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. He's allowed to do that. He's a comedian. He can do that. Just because he's black and just because she's black doesn't mean he has to have her back. That's not the way it goes around here. We have thoughts. We have mind. We have our own thoughts and opinions, and we can do that. Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to automatically, like sit with the black people, or something like that. I've hated that. I've hated that, thought for so many years, and it's a stupid theory. And people want to seem to believe that you have to. And people on Twitter, they use this saying, not all skin folk is kinfolk. Well, no, and they use it in a way to almost demean people. But you know what? That's actually, it's not demeaning. It's actually right. Just because you black doesn't mean you my family. It doesn't mean that that I'm supposed to defend you, down to the depths. No, that is not what that means. And that's what they mean with Michael Che thing. So I don't know that's a little off sports, but this is me talking about Simone Biles. I just thought I'd bring it up in case. But still got a few more days of the Olympics to go. We still got another full week or so. August 8th will be the closing ceremonies, I believe. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if the United States can win more gold medals and they can win more medals overall. So this came out of nowhere, and it was made official about 24 hours ago. Texas and Oklahoma notified the Big 12 that they were going to leave, and they wanted to join the SEC, and the SEC have accepted their invitations to join the SEC, and now we're going to have Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC. It says in 2025, but there have been talks about Texas and Oklahoma buying out their deals and joining the SEC sooner than later. So let's read this article from David Cobb and Dennis Dodd on CBS Sports. Just 9 days after word leaked that Texas and Oklahoma were in talks regarding a landscape-changing move from the Big 12 to the Southeastern Conference, the seismic shift has officially ended. A fucking thing pops up. Don't you just hate these fucking things? That's why I just pop-up ad blockers are wonderful. A seismic shift is officially complete. Following Thursday's unanimous vote by the SEC chancellors and presidents to invite the school's membership starting in 2025, the Texas Board of Regents and the Oklahoma Board of Regents met Friday, where both schools officially approved the move by accepting the invitations. Today's actions by the Board of Regents is in the best interest of UT student athletes, the UT Austin Athletics Program overall, and the University of Texas System Chancellor James Milken said in a statement. The move ensures a strong future for an outstanding athletic program, providing the opportunity for our student athletes to compete at the highest levels. The fallout within college sports is expected to be far-reaching, as the Big 12 will be left without two flagship schools of its now formerly 10-member conference. With Texas and Oklahoma departing, the conference members face a choice of whether to stay together and rebuild or disband and strike out on their own to seek alternatives. After thorough consideration and study, it became obvious that standing pat would mean falling behind, Oklahoma Athletic Director Joe Castiglione said. While Texas and Oklahoma have stated their intent to remain in the Big 12 until its current grant of rights expires in 2025, their moves to the SEC could be expedited if the Big 12 dissolves or if the schools are willing to pay hefty exit fees, which I was just talking about a minute ago. Ramifications loom for the potential expansion of the college football playoff as well. Proposals for a move to a 12-team college football playoff as early as the 2023 season hinges on previous conference structures, and Pac-12 Commissioner George Kliavkoff told CBS Sports' Dennis Dodd this week that CFP expansion is only going to be readdressed in the light of conference realignment. The SEC, meanwhile, has solidified its standing as the top conference in college sports. The league has now grown to include 16 total members, including 11 of the top 17 revenue-generating universities in the NCAA, per USA Today's most recent database of athletic department finances. The league officially announced the addition of the two schools Friday with a statement touting the academic and athletic successes of each university. This is an important moment for the long-term future of the Southeastern Conference, our members' universities, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey said in the statement. Oklahoma and Texas are outstanding academic institutions with two strong athletic programs, which will add to the SEC's national prominence. Their additions will further enhance their rich academic athletic, and cultural legacies that have been cultivated throughout the years by our existing 14 members. We look forward to the Sooners and the Longhorns competing in our conference starting in the 2025-2026 academic year. And thus, the book is closed on a quarter-century Big 12 relationship with Texas and Oklahoma. In fact, the conference might not have existed in the first place had the former Longhorns AD DeLas Dodds and former Sooners AD Johnny Duncan not had the dare to travel to New York in the early 1990s. It was there the two AD power brokers pitched to advertise the idea of a conference in the middle of the country that would reach from Iowa to Texas. At the time, Chevrolet was a major college football advertiser, and Dodds made the comment that in that footprint, Chevy could sell a lot of pickups. The possibility of the Big 12 took off from there. Those 12 schools initially projected to take 16% of the nation's TVs, including a large swathe in Texas. The initial investment was with the Liberty Communications, which paid $100 million for the first Big 12 rights. Liberty eventually turned into Fox. Yeah, so it's such a big move for Texas and Oklahoma to go there, because what this now means, and I think this was a big thing talking about. What was it? It was almost a decade ago, wasn't it? Almost a decade ago when there was talk that Texas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and Texas A&M. I think they were the four that were thinking about going to the Pac-10. They were going to the Pac-10, and they were going to go with who went there. Utah went there, and then the other team. I can't remember what other team it was. Colorado. It was Colorado. Utah. It was Colorado, Utah, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State, Texas, and Texas A&M. Or Texas Tech, was it? I think it was in Texas Tech, actually. They were going to go to them, and they were going to turn from the Pac-10 into the Pac-16. And there was talk then about 4 major conferences with 16 teams. It was going to be the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten, and then the Pac-10 at the time. They were all going to add teams, and all of them did. Missouri and Texas A&M went, to there, and we talked about Utah and Colorado. They went to Pac-12. Maryland and Rodgers they went to the Big Ten, and ACC they added Miami and Boston College from the Big East. And the Big East dissolved. At least in football, it totally dissolved. There's no Big East. There's a Big East in basketball. There's not a Big East in football. And that's what you could be seeing here. You could be seeing here right now, like the dissolution of the Big 12. And then you go, well, where would those teams go? Well, we still have, we have the Big 10, right? The Big 10, you automatically think, well, the Big 10, they've got, they could get, they've already went and got Nebraska, right? They already went and got Nebraska. From the Big 12, which is Nebraska. So they could go and they could get Iowa State, which is on a rival for Iowa. Kansas State could be a good shout there as well. And then you get West Virginia, who moved from the ACC to the Big 12. And the West Virginia could actually join the Big 10 as well, and they could go back to the ACC. So then you have moves there, and then you're talking about Oklahoma State could go to the they could go to the Pac-12. There was same thing with Texas Tech. They can go to the Pac-12 as well. Or even as we going right now, right? There's give me 16. So they already got 16, so it wouldn't be more than 16 in a big conference. So, but and TCU went from a non-Power 5 conference, I forget what, they ain't been the WAC, to the Big 12, or the Big 12 can go and they can add teams. They can add teams like BYU, they can add teams like SMU, they can build back the Big 12 to being an actual Big 12, and that would be something interesting. What also would be interesting is maybe with Notre Dame, because last year Notre Dame played in the ACC because of the COVID stuff, and this year they're going to be back to being an independent. But I think, with the things that are happening with the college football playoff, unfortunately, I think for a lot of us Notre Dame fans who like the independence and the fact that that you can see them playing Alabama, and they can play Alabama, they can play Oklahoma, they can play all these teams from all these other conferences, and they don't have to sit on this set conference that you just have to play the same team over and over again. That might be something where they unfortunately would have to do. And just think, if Notre Dame would join the Big 12, just think about it right now. So Texas and Oklahoma are gone, right? Right now. So right now you went from 10 teams in the Big 12 to now 8. So let's just say now you keep those 8 teams, and then you bring in, like I said, you bring in BYU, right? You bring in SMU, right? You bring in Boise State, and you bring in Notre Dame. You go back to being Big 12 with 12 teams, and you had those 12 teams. And you get a contract set up right with NBC. Because you can immediately go, okay, so the Big 12 is exclusive on NBC. You get 2 games, you get 2 Saturday games. You get you get your Notre Dame game, and then you get the Big 12. You get another Big 12 game. How cool would that be? That's more football, more better. Or maybe you can get a Notre Dame on NBC, and then on NBC Sports Network you can get Big 12 games. So that could be awesome. Although personally, I still would like to see Notre Dame just continue to be independent. I would like to see them get away from this ACC stuff, so that they can go back to having their rivalries with Michigan and Michigan State, Purdue, and all those things. There's really before they did that thing with the ACC, where Notre Dame joined the ACC in every sport except football. They really already had a schedule. They played 8 teams a year. They played Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, USC, Stanford. Now I'm missing. They played Navy every year. And there was another team that I was missing from another conference. I can't remember now. But yeah, those teams they played every year. Those 6, and then they had another 6 games they played. Rotating other teams. So, but yeah, this is going to be an incredible move for the SEC. SEC just gets bigger and better, and they already got a God complex down there, and now it's going to be even more. Paul Feinbaum is going to have a lot to talk about when it comes to the SEC. So before I end this segment, should let you guys know that I will be doing a college football preview. What I normally do, I give you the top 4 teams that I feel is going to make the college football playoff, and then I give you the things of the local teams that I root for. Northwestern Illinois, Notre Dame, and Northern Illinois. Even though I'm down here in North Carolina, those are still my teams, and those will always be my teams, unless I feel that maybe Notre Dame once again makes the college football playoff. We'll have to wait and see, but that's going to come probably the week of the as they like to say, week 0. They like to say week 0 is not week 1, but it's that first week. It'll be that week, or it will be week 1. I think as I'm talking right now, I think it's going to be the week before. It should be before week 1, because week 1 is always before week 1 of the pro football season. So yeah, that first week of pro football is Saturday. It's week 2 of the college season, and then week 1 of the NFL season. So That's when it'll be. So be on the lookout for that. It'll be just like this. It'll be a simulcast of a podcast and the video version. So make sure you're there for it. Keep the notification bell. If you're watching on YouTube. Yesterday was the Major League Baseball trade deadline, and boy, we had more action at the trade deadline this year than we've had ever before. And we've had the most All-Stars traded in a trade deadline ever. And it is just, former All-Stars, I should say, not current All-Stars, but former All-Stars. Some who were current, but a lot that were former. It's incredible. And I'm going to go down the list real quick of the trades. I think I list earlier. It goes back to like July 15th. So we're just gonna run through all of them. I'm not gonna try to break them down because I can't tell you anything about the any of the scenes or any of the minor leaguers who we're gonna be moving or anything like that. I can just give you my thoughts quickly on what they got, anything like that. And as a Cubs fan, at the end, I will also give you my thoughts as a Cubs fan. So here you go. Most of them from yesterday, right? All ones from yesterday. The Giants acquired third baseman outfielder Chris Bryant from the Cubs for outfielder Alexander Canario and right-hand pitcher Caleb Killian. The Mets acquired Javier Baez and Trevor Williams from the Cubs for Pete Crow Armstrong. The Blue Jays acquired Jose Barrios from the Twins for shortstop outfielder Austin Martin, and the White Sox acquired Craig Kimbrell from the Cubs for second baseman Nick Madrigal and pitcher Cody Howard. The Dodgers acquired Max Scherzer and Trey Turner from the Nationals for center Hybrid Ruiz, pitcher Hosea Gray, pitcher Gerardo Carrillo, and outfielder Davion Casey. That's an interesting one because the night before there was talk about Scherzer going to the Padres. So the Dodgers jumped in and took him right away. The Phillies acquired Kyle Gibson, Ian Kennedy, Hans Krause, and cash from the Rangers for his pitchers Spencer Howard, Kevin Gowdy, and Josh Gessner. The A's acquired catcher Yan Gomes, second baseman Josh Harrison, and cash from the Nationals for catcher Drew Millis, pitchers Seth Schumann and Richard Gauch. The Yankees acquired left-hand pitcher Andrew Haney and cash from the Angels for right-hand pitcher Jansen Junk and Elvis Figueroa. Braves acquired outfielder Jorge Soler from the Royals for pitcher Casey Kellich. The Cardinals acquired John Lester from the Nationals for outfielder Lane Thomas. The Cardinals acquired Happ and cash from the Twins for Gant and for pitchers John Gant and Evan Sisk. The Braves acquired Richard Rodriguez from the Pirates for Bryce Wilson and Ricky DeVito. The Braves acquired Adam Duvall from the Marlins for Alex Jackson. The Braves doing some work as well. Man, most of yesterday was focused on the Cubs because the Cubs basically had a fire sale. Checking my thing. The Braves had a fire sale. The Cubs had a fire sale, but there's a lot of things went down yesterday. The Red Sox acquired Hansel Robles for the Twins for pitcher Alex Sheriff. The Blue Jays acquired pitcher Joakim Soria from the D-backs for two players to be named later. The Braves acquired outfielder Eddie Rosario from the Indians in cash for first and third baseman Pablo Sandoval. That's an interesting one. The Padres acquired Jake Marinsnik from the Cubs for Anderson Espinoza. The Phillies acquired shortstop Freddie Galvis and cash from the Orioles for Tyler Birch. I think Galvis was a former Philly. It says here that he debuted with the club in 2012 and he played in Philly through 2017. So he's going back to Philly. The Giants acquired Tony Watson from the Angels, who's a pitcher, for pitchers Jose Marte, Ivan Armstrong, and Sam Selman. The Brewers acquired pitcher John Curtis from the Marlins for catcher Peyton Henry. The Astros acquired pitcher Phil Maton and catcher Yanian Diaz from the Indians for outfielder Mal Straw. The Tampa Bay Rays acquired outfielder Jordan Luplow and right-handed pitcher DJ Johnson from the Indians for pitcher Peyton Battenfield. The Pirates acquired infielder and outfielder Michael Chavis from the Red Sox for Austin Davis, pitcher. The Brewers also acquired Daniel Norris from the Tigers for another pitcher, Reese Olson. Jesus, it's so fun to me. Phillies acquired pitcher Braden Ogle from the Pirates for Abraham Gutierrez. Rays acquired pitcher Sean Armstrong from the Orioles for cash considerations. Padres acquired Daniel Hudson from the Nationals for Mason Thompson and Jordan Barley. Red Sox acquired Kyle Schwarber. This is from not now. This is another day. This is now July 29th. Red Sox acquired outfielder Kyle Schwarber from the Nationals for pitcher Aldo Ramirez. They say, I saw this, they say that they're going to have Kyle Schwarber play first base, which I was telling the Cubs to have him play first base for so long. He could have been the one replacing Rizzo. I think he would have been good instead of putting in the damn outfield, but that's not okay. Speaking of Rizzo, the Yankees acquired Anthony Rizzo from the Cubs for right-handed pitcher Alessandro Vizcaino and outfielder Kevin Alcantara. The Dodgers acquired left-handed pitcher Danny Duffy and cash from the Royals for a player to be named later. Mariners acquired pitcher Diego Castillo from the Rays for another pitcher JT Chargois and Austin Shelton, Sinton, whatever. The White Sox acquired right-handed pitcher Ryan Tepera from the Cubs for left-handed pitcher Bailey Horn. Yankees acquired Joey Gallo, Joely Rodriguez, and cash from the Rangers for Ichiro Duran, Josh Smith for shortstop, Trevor Hauser, infielder outfielder, and right-handed pitcher Glenn Otto. The Braves acquired left-handed pitcher Brad Hand from the Nationals for Riley Adams, catcher. The Rockies acquired Aston Udell from the Reds for cash considerations. White Sox acquired Cesar Hernandez from the Indians for left-handed pitcher Connor Pilkington. Brewers acquired infielder Eduardo Escobar from the Diamondbacks for infielder-outfielder Cooper Hummel and infielder Alberto Ciprian. That happened on July 28th. All these are from July 28th as well. The A's acquired Starlin Marte from the Marlins for Jesus Luzardo. The Astros acquired Yimi Garcia from the Marlins for Austin Pruitt and Brian De La Cruz. The Reds acquired Michael Givens from the Rockies for Case Williams and Noah Davis. The Mariners acquired Tyler Anderson from the Pirates for Carter Benz, a catcher, and Joaquin Tejada. The Reds also acquired Luis Cessa and Justin Williams from the Yankees for a player to be named later. July 27th, the Astros acquired Kendall Graveman and Rafael Montero from the Mariners for Abraham Toro and Joe Smith. Not the basketball Joe Smith, but the baseball player Joe Smith. On July 26th, the A's acquired Andrew Chafin from the Cubs for Greg Deichmann and Daniel Palencia. The Yankees acquired Clay Holmes from the Pirates for infielder Diego Castillo and infielder Hoy Park. Padres acquired second baseman outfielder Adam Frazier and cash from the Pirates for Chupita Marcano, Jack Sawinski, and Michel Milano. Michel Milano, whatever. Cardinals acquired right-handed pitcher T.J. Zeus for the Blue Jays for cash considerations. That's happened July 25th. July 24th, Mets acquired Mark Payton from the Reds for cash considerations. July 23rd, the Mets acquired Rich Hill from the Rays for Tommy Hunter and Matt Dyer. July 22nd, the Rays acquired Nelson Cruz and Calvin Faulkner from the Twins for Joe Ryan and Drew Stoutland. On the 21st, the Royals acquired Joel Payamas from the Blue Jays for cash considerations. July 21st, the Dodgers acquired Billy McKinney from the Mets for Carlos Monson and cash. On July 19th, the Pirates acquired Peters from the Angels for cash considerations. July 16th, the Braves acquired Stephen Vogt from the D-backs for Mason Byrne. On July 15th, the White Sox acquired catcher David Gulon from the Rays for cash considerations. Also on July 15th, the Braves acquired Jock Peterson from the Cubs for Bryce Ball. Those have been the trades for the last 15 days, the major ones that have happened. It's incredible, the movement, the all-star power that was traded, particularly yesterday. It was just incredible. It was the best trade deadline in a mile. And again, it was mostly focused on my Chicago Cubs who had a fire sale, and it started on July 15th with Jock Peterson. They trade anyone who had a 1-year deal or who they could get something for. They traded, and they're, as a Cubs fan, I understand why it needed to happen. I understand because unfortunately it had run its course, and the Cubs only won one championship. I know some people are like, well, damn, it's been 108 years before you won one. You only won. But I think for many Cubs fans, including myself, this almost should have been a Chicago Blackhawks thing. The Chicago Blackhawks, they went their long time without winning one, 60 some odd years, and then in 2009 they won one, and then they went a couple more years, and then they won one in 2013, right? I think they won one in 2010, 2013, 2015. And it started in 2009. I think once things went down, that's when they got good. So I think a lot of Cubs was thinking about that. Yeah. Make the playoffs every year, and then we'll be good enough to where we will get there, and we'll win a couple, and we'll win 3 and 6 years, or we'll win 3 and 5, or we'll win 4 and 9, or whatever. Many people thought that's what was going to happen. And then they had the surprise year in 2015. Nobody didn't expect it. They signed John Lester to free agency. They brought up Chris Bryant several days after the after the start of the season, so that they could have his contract for a year more. They had Aston Russell and Avi Baez, and had all those guys come up in 2015. I think Kyle Schwarber as well. They had all those guys come up, and they and they just spoke out. And Jake Arrieta went out of nowhere. Came out of nowhere and went from being Jake Arrieta to being Bob Gibson. And it was just incredible. And then they went to the playoffs, and they went to the NLCS, only to be swept by the Mets. But you saw it coming. And 2016 was the year where everything fell into place. Even though Kyle Schwarber got injured, like very early in the season, but they brought up Willie Wilson Contreras, and everything was just clicking, and they went wire to wire as the best team in the country. And then they, just the World Series, the World Series for the first time since 1945, and then to be down 3-1 to the Indians and come back and win 3 straight, and then have that Game 7. The rain delay and everything like that, and then Jason Hayward having his having his thing, and his speech and everything, and to come out and then win the World Series was incredible. You just thought it was going to happen again, but in 2017 it came close, but they made it to the NLCS again, but it wasn't the same, and that's when you saw the cracks, you saw the flaws really, you saw the flaws then. You saw the flaws of an aging pitching staff, primarily, and you saw the batters, and you saw the batters that they hit a lot of home runs, but there's also a lot of swing and miss in everybody. A lot of swing and miss in Chris Bryant, a lot of swing and miss in Anthony Rizzo, swing and miss in Jason Hayward, swing and miss in Richard Contreras, swing and miss especially in Javi Baez. That may be unfortunately his biggest thing. You know, I don't care about him walking. He doesn't have to walk, but he needs to hit, definitely. And you see that sometimes. And Albert Almora, a lot of swing and miss in him as well. And you saw it. And then in 2018, wasn't good either. You really saw the flaws then. You saw the decline in Jake, and decline in Lester, and many others. You thought Kyle Hendricks, he was stepping up and becoming like a pitcher, but he's a soft tosser, so he's gonna get hit very often as well. And I believe 2018 was the year that I believe 2018 was the year that they had a lead, but then they lost it to the Milwaukee Brewers in Game 163. The Milwaukee Brewers won the division, and then they had to play Colorado in the wild card game, and then lost to Colorado in the wild card game. And then that was that. And then 2019, they didn't make the playoffs at all. And that was unfortunate. Joe Madden was then released from his contract, or he was not re-signed to another contract. They parted ways. Hired David Ross. 2020, the whole COVID year, they won the division, but then they get swept by the Miami Marlins of all teams. The damn Miami Marlins just got the Cubs number in terms of playoffs. And then of course this year, at one point they surprised everybody. They were like 32. They went on a good run, and they were like 32-23 or something like that. 9 games over 500, but then they had an 11-game losing streak. An 11-game losing streak that really just took it down the toilet, and they haven't been good pretty much since. And everybody left, and everybody was traded. And started in all season with trading Yu Darvish, and pretty much everybody thought then that this was going to be a year where they were going to be traded. But that surprising start, the first couple months in the season, after May, they were first in the division, and going into June, even so much so that Jeff Passan went on local Chicago radio and said that they're not trading anybody. They're not selling. They're going to be buying. You have to be buying because you're going to be in first place in the division come trade deadline. And he did not foresee an 11-game streak, and ever since, like, they just done a horrible record since June 1st. Absolutely terrible, and he did not foresee that. So it looks bad on him, but I don't blame him at all for not counting out an 11-game losing streak. So, and my thoughts of it is, some things needed to change, and they needed to change. I would have liked to see him keep Javi Baez, because I think he's incredible. He's a great player. There's no one like him in the game. But I know why. He said on his exit interview, he said that he's open to coming back, and hopefully he does. Hopefully he's the only one to come back. As much as I thank Rizzo and I thank Chris Bryant for bringing a championship to the Chicago Cubs in 2016, I don't want to see them in the Cubs uniform again, because I think they get too much credit than they deserve. They're a little bit overrated, in my opinion. They're a little bit overrated, especially Anthony Rizzo. He's again, love the fact that he was a big part of the 2016 Cubs, and couldn't have done it without him. But he's a bit overrated, and I would say he should probably go back home in the off season and go to Florida, go play with Miami Marlins, and do some. He does great charity work, and he can be great down there doing charity work. I think that would be best for him. And I don't care where Chris Bryant goes. I think Chris Bryant is he's been a bit suspect as well. So I'd like to see him go. Him stay away. But I want Javi Baez to come back. I do. I want Javi Baez to come back. There's a street named after Javi Baez in Chicago, so I want him to come back. He deserves to be here, and he could be the star of the new one. But it's they're gonna try to rebuild the team, and I think they're gonna try to do it well. They have more. It's not less swing and miss, but more contact hitters. That's why they traded for Nick Madrigal, who's a great contact hitter. He doesn't walk. He doesn't strike out either. He makes contact. He had a .317 batting average. That's good. And maybe there'll be some more guys who are contact guys and who can. There's nothing wrong with contact guys. If you get a bunch of lineup guys in a lineup who hit 290s, 300, and fine. A lot of people got on the Kansas City Royals when they won because there wasn't a lot of guys with power. There was maybe 2 or 3 guys with power, Moustakas and Hosmer. They had some power, but Perez had some power as well, the catcher. Otherwise, there wasn't power. But there was a lot of good hitters, a lot of great hitters who were hitting 290, 280, 290, 300 on their team. And that's why they went to back-to-back ALCSs, and then even I think they went back-to-back World Series, maybe, including winning one against the Mets. So there's nothing wrong with that. If Javi Baez and Buster Contreras are your only power hitters, that's cool with me. As long as you got guys who can, continue to hit the ball, then I'm fine with that as a Cubs fan. And they also need, and then one thing they also need to do, they need to develop some good pitching, some good pitching, some guys who can smoke the ball 95, 96 miles an hour. Develop those guys, make those guys into great pitchers. And then the Cubs, hopefully this is not a full down rebuild. Hopefully this is just a retool. Well, maybe this year, the rest of this year, maybe 2022, and maybe even at the end of 2023, at the beginning of 2023, maybe even, it's going to be lean, but maybe some point in 2023 we'll start to see them, guys will come up from the minors and start seeing things, and that'll be 2005 all over again. Hopefully, there's always free agency, but we'll see if Tom Ricketts, the owner of the Cubs, is willing to spend, because he's been talking about a lot of biblical losses because of the COVID-19 debacle last year. So that's one of the reasons why they believe they traded Yu Darvish, so that they wouldn't be spending so much money. So we'll see if he spends this offseason, next offseason, of it all again. So here on my podcast, we do talk wrestling sometimes. I mostly keep my wrestling to my YouTube channel. For those of you guys listening on the podcast, I have a particular show called That's a Shoot. Usually every Friday, I talk about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. I do now here on the Game According to Me, I do talk a little bit of wrestling. I don't talk too much about it, but as I am doing this podcast simulcast on both YouTube and on the podcast version, breaking news suddenly hits, and Bray Wyatt has been released by WWE, and this is I don't know if it's. I don't even know. I don't know if it's shocking or surprising. It just seems like the Bray Wyatt character wasn't, it wasn't doing what it should have been. The Bray Wyatt character was finished after the Hell in a Cell in 2019. Was that it? it was finished in 2019 when they had that ridiculous Hell in a Cell match between him and Seth Rollins, where Seth Rollins gave him 39 stomps, and he kept getting up, just don't selling the fucking stomps, and they did the Hell in a Cell no contest thing, and he was done at that point as a character, and he was done for true reasons. He was done because of the way they had booked him, to be. This was a guy that not should have been he should not been booked as Jason, and that's what he was. He was booked as Jason or Michael Myers, somebody who just would not die. He kept coming back for more, to kill more people. He kept, and that's not the way he should have been. He should not have been booked as this invulnerable, beatable, thing, entity. That's not what he should have been. What he should have been was he should have been she should have been I want to say a figment of his imagination, but he should have been the embodiment of all of the anger and vitriol and pent up aggression that Bray Wyatt has, focused on throughout the years, and that comes out with the Fiend, and the Fiend, and maybe from time to time he would sell something, but but he should still be, and he should still be, beating people. His debut at SummerSlam 2019 was amazing. I think it was widely reviewed as a great thing. It was the entrance, everything like that, the mask, the moveset, everything like that. And then and they tried to save him. They gave him the mandible claw, which I thought was a good one, a good submission move to give to him. And I thought he was and they tried to get him back, but it was never the same, because they kept using him as this unbeatable thing. And they had a chance to reboot him. They had a chance to reboot him when Randy Orton burned him alive. they had a chance to reboot him as as maybe something different, but he just came back as the same thing, and then he lost to Randy Orton at WrestleMania this year, and now they have Alexa Bliss kind of doing his stuff, and so I hope the fans don't take it out on Alexa Bliss. She did not steal his gimmick or anything like that. WWE has felt that it was probably better off used with her instead of him, and I guess because of that, they didn't feel that there was enough time for Bray Wyatt, doing two characters like that to be in the WWE, and so they released him. I mean, maybe Bray Wyatt didn't want to do. I'm not sure the entire details of it. Nobody knows the entire details of it. It's just been announced that he's been released, and we see where he goes. I don't know. When they released Bo Dallas he had already started doing stuff for insurance and things like that. So he's going away from the wrestling business. We'll see what Bray Wyatt, real name Wyndham Rotunda, does. If he goes away and gets away from the wrestling business, or if he decides to go other places and do his thing. We'll wait and see. But yeah, it's kind of a shock. Bray Wyatt released by the WWE. Okay, before we get to our last topic with the NFL and the training camps and the things going on around there, whew, boy, that's something else. Going back really quick to the Bray Wyatt news. If you are listening on the podcast, make sure you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AJTRIP20, and subscribe and click the notification bell, because I will probably have more on this. If I don't have more on it today, I'll probably definitely at some point will probably have it next week as part of my That's a Shoot. Talk about, because more stuff should come out. Sean Ross Sapp is on the case, and he's a very good one. We got other people as well out there who will probably find out some information. Bray Wyatt may say something as well. Who knows? So yeah, definitely want to go over to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell so that when I do put out something, you can get the video for that as well. And of course, those of you guys watching on YouTube, you know the deal. You are watching this, so if you haven't subscribed or notification bell yet as well, you should do so. Also, if you want more information on the Bray Wyatt stuff from me. That being said, let's go ahead and let's wrap this up with the NFL. It's back. And baby, I cannot wait. I'm so glad it is back. Woo! Training camp is happening. All teams are in training camp. This coming Thursday, the Hall of Fame game, the Steelers and the Cowboys. That's going to be amazing. We already got Dak Prescott with an injury to his shoulder. Coach quarterback Carson Wentz, he has a foot injury. He is out indefinitely. And the Colts have a couple other injuries as well to some of their star players. You got some new faces and new places. Julio Jones was traded in all season to the Tennessee Titans. We've got some other landmark things. We've got the rookies coming in with all the 5 rookie first-round quarterbacks. Jack Wilson still has not signed his contract, I believe, with the Jets. Trevor Lawrence is down in Jacksonville where he played. Gardner Minshew said something crazy. He said that he hasn't taken a poop because number 2 was an option for him. He's looking to win the job in training camp in Jacksonville. From Trevor Lawrence, we'll see if that really does happen. Trey Lance down in San Francisco. He's the backup to Jimmy Garoppolo, but they're having an open competition. They want Jimmy to be the one, but they said that Trey Lance can take the job from him if he plays better than Jimmy. So we'll see about that. And then Jimmy Garoppolo with his injury history concerns, that's a big deal as well. In Chicago, my favorite team, the Bears. Justin Fields, Andy Dalton has been named the starting quarterback. A lot of people don't believe that. A lot of people do believe that Justin Fields can win it. Until I see it, I'm going to take Matt Nagy at his word. I think that Matt Nagy does want to do what he did in Kansas City by playing Andy Dalton all year and letting Justin Fields sit for as long as he can. And who knows? We do know that Andy Dalton is as nice of a quarterback as he is. He's he's getting older, and he may not be what he was when he was younger, and he may not also be able to survive. He may play as well as he can, but the Bears can still be 0-5. After 5 games, and 0-4 after 4 games, and then it's time for Justin Fields. So we'll wait and see what happens with Chicago, and then of course we have the quarterback competition in England with Cam Newton and Mac Jones, and we're seeing what's going on there. But with all of that being said, and we still got some holdouts as well, people who want the contracts. Xavier Howard, I believe in Miami, wants a new contract, and I think one of the Jets safeties, I think, is holding out as well. But all that being said, this comes down to 2 people. This training camp is 2 people. It's Deshaun Watson and it's Aaron Rodgers. 2 guys who have made this offseason seem a lot shorter than it has been, because they have come out and said that they do not want to play for their teams, and they were going to, they wanted trades. They asked for trade requests and things like that. And we'll start with Deshaun Watson because he was first. He wanted a trade from Houston and everything like that. And then the stories come out about the him being civil lawsuits, being sued by women, massage ladies who decided that he wanted to that he wanted to basically have them do things to him or have sex with him, and they did it, and it was basically a sexual assault type of thing, right? And they kind of sued. He's been sued, and it was first of all it was one woman, and then it was two women, and then it was 4 or 5 women, and at this point, to this date, it is 22 women who have civil lawsuits against Deshaun Watson, and that's insane. That's insane, and it is either the biggest con job in the history, of lawyering ever, or and it may not be, it can be an and or. Deshaun Watson has a problem, and some may say that he made that anyway. Even if these women are lying, and Deshaun Watson has come out and said that he's had sex with some of these women, and the sex was consensual. That's what he says. The sex was consensual, or the sexual acts were consensual. But still, man, that's you hire a massage lady, and then you have the massage lady, get down on you, or so. That's you're Deshaun Anthony Watson. You don't. That's something that you don't need, right? I don't know if you would call Deshaun Watson necessarily handsome, but I don't think you would call him ugly either. Right, he maybe just average looking, but him now being a football player, a celebrity, and have millions of dollars, that's going to make him attractive to many women than he would be if he was Deshaun Watson, the garbage man, or Deshaun Watson, the teacher. It makes him a lot more attractive. So I don't think he would need a massage parlor, massage woman, and try to allegedly coerce a massage woman into doing things to him or having sex with him. So that's still going on, and he said that he was never going to play for the Texans again. But when do you know it? He's at Texas training camp because he doesn't want to get fined $50,000 a day for missing training camp. So he still said that he wants to be traded, but he's at Texas camp. He is going to Texas camp, and there could be a thing where we open up Sunday afternoon and he is playing at quarterback with the Houston Texans, with all these allegations around him and him not wanting to really be there and everything like that. So this is a wild situation down in Texas. It really is. And a situation that is just as wild, but not for the other reasons, but for other reasons that why it's wild. Aaron Rodgers, who, because of Eric, I guess it's been years of stuff that's been pent up and he has just been wow. He is just not. He's been like, please, like, what's going on here, right? And so he has just been felted up, and finally this offseason he just had enough, and he said, fuck it. He said, fuck it. I'm gonna have to make this explicit, but who cares? Because it needs to be. That's exactly what he feels like it said. He said, fuck it. I'm over this. And there's stuff that's happened in the championship game with him, not them kicking the field goal and not going for it or anything like that. That may have something to do with it as well. Then he says it doesn't have anything to do with Jordan Love, but I think maybe it kind of does because they didn't consult him on anything and on a lot of situations and things like that happened. And So and he feels that the way he's played, a two-time MVP, a multiple-time Pro Bowler, a Super Bowl champion, that he deserves to at least be heard when it comes to some of the things that goes on with the team, and they have not really been open to doing that with him. And he just said, "I had enough," and he told them that he didn't want to play for them anymore. And we know, Adam Schefter came out with it on draft night. It was, and he said in his post conference, his conference this past week, his first conference at training camp, that it was him and his team did not leak it, so he feels that it was leaked by the Green Bay Packers on the day. So he feels that it was leaked by them then, and it's been seemingly all downhill by him. And again, there was a lot of talking heads said he's not going to play for the Green Bay Packers again. And he's not, but they're like, these people don't have leverage. They don't have leverage. These players are trying to do what some of the players in the NBA is doing or have done. James Harden, forcing his way out of Houston, or Anthony Davis forcing his way out of New Orleans, or whoever forced their way out of whatever situation. There's a lot of player empowerment in the NBA, but not in the NFL. And I think some players want that to be the case, but I think in some cases, in all the cases, in any sport, Major League Baseball, NBA, you try to force yourself out of a situation. When you have a signed contract, it just makes you look, like a baby. It makes you look like a crybaby. It really does. And in some situations, you try to force yourself way out. You can say, "Listen, I would rather be traded, but I'm going to play the rest of my deal out, and hopefully you guys will honor me and trade me, and we can speak nothing else of it." Something like that. But that was not the case in some situations. It's not the case here as well, because he is now back training camp, and he wants to play, and he's playing. There's a report out that says that they redid their deal, so that his last year is after the 2022-2023 season. It's last year in Green Bay, and they are going to revisit his situation after this season. So we will see. But and in that press conference the other day, he lit him up. So yeah, he has a big time problem with that front office in there. But it was amazing, that press conference. It's got to be somewhere on YouTube if you can find it. Aaron Rodgers press conference. Look it up. It was incredible. I mean, the people on ESPN could not believe it. Sage Steele and Matt Barrows, they were in shock. On Jeff Saturday and Tim Hasselbeck, the analysts, they were in shock. Even the next day, all up on TV, Mike Greenberg, and everybody else, Sam Archer and all those people, they were just monster gate at Aaron Rodgers said. They could not believe it. That he was that honest too. That he was that honest with it. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Packers. And both him and Devontae Adams, they put on their Instagrams a picture of Michael and Scotty, almost as if to say that this is the last dance for them. And so we will see what goes down this season. We will see what happens with Aaron Rodgers this year, and we will see what happens with the Green Bay Packers. Because it is going to be, I think, an incredible year all around. We have an extra game, 17 games. There's so much other stuff to be happening. So, quick note, once again, like I mentioned, when it comes to football, my NFL preview show and predictions will be on the Tuesday. Well, I said that. It's either going to be the Tuesday before the Thursday opening night game between the Bucks and the Cowboys, or it's going to be actually on that Thursday. That Thursday I would actually do it. What I may do is I may record it on Tuesday and save it for Thursday and put it out then, because yeah, that's going to be something special. Yeah, that's going to be something good. So yeah, be on the lookout. For that. Once again, it'll be another dual cast on YouTube, a YouTube video, and a podcast for the audio listeners. Once again, wherever you find wherever you find your podcast, wherever you do to listen to your podcast, my podcast is there, and you can find it. So, yeah, cannot wait for the National Football League to really get started. This coming Thursday, Steelers Cowboys Hall of Fame game. And then the Hall of Fame inductions from not only 2021, but for 2020, didn't have one because of COVID. Both of those are going to be happening too. Going to be a long day. Hope it's not too hot. All right, y'all. This is the end of my podcast. I know this is a very long podcast. I appreciate it. And if you've made it this far, whether listening to it or watching it on YouTube, believe me, I appreciate it so much. You have no idea. You really, truly don't. I have no idea. I appreciate it so much. A couple of things before we close it out. Patreon.com/AJTRIP to become a Patreon. Once I hit a certain amount of Patreons, you can determine what I do. You can determine what videos I do on YouTube. You determine what things I talk about on my podcast. And normally you can determine what video games I would play on my Twitch channel. If you are a gamer, you like to do that. Twitch.tv/AJTRIP20. However, I must mention I have not been able to stream as of late because of my bandwidth. My bandwidth is too low. So every time I try to stream, I can stream for like 10-15 minutes, and then it conks out on me. It doesn't continue to stream. And I don't have the money right now to get a capture card and run the capture card to a video and do it that way. That being said, if I were to accumulate, the number of Patreons needed, I would do something for my Twitch channel. I would do something where I would. I tested it out. I can do like a live stream on there from like my XSplit and things like that. So maybe I would do something like a live stream type of thing where I would just sit down and talk or something like that for you, or maybe I would do my podcast there or something like that. Who knows? Now I have to think about it. Maybe I might upload this to Twitch. I don't know. Anyway, it does not matter. Yes, something will be done for that. Or hell, if I should mention it, if I got enough Patreons, I probably would have enough money to the point where I could buy the capture card. So still a bit of it. So yeah, there's that. And for those you guys listening on the audio version to this, Anchor.fm/AndreTriplet Show, you can go to my page and you can go right there and you can support me, right from there. You don't even have to be a patron. Now, obviously with Patreon, there are perks. There are no perks that you get, but you can still support me if you feel like it. You think, wow, I like this. I like what this guy's doing. Or as the football season comes up, I want to hear this guy's thoughts on their college football and pro football, everything like that. Or when you hear me talk about wrestling or whatever. It's 99 cents a month, $4.99 a month, or $9.99 a month. So you can say, hey, you can pay 99 cents a month to support me and get the podcast. Or you cannot do nothing and get it for free as well, which that's totally fine. But if you wanted to support me, that is okay as well. Believe me, anything that you do, whether it's on YouTube and liking and sharing and subscribing to my channel and liking in my videos and things like that, clicking the notification bell, or if you are becoming a patron, or if you are subscribing on the Anchor.fm site, anything that you do, I appreciate it, because I know that you don't have to do it, but the fact that you do, I appreciate it so much, and I want to thank each and every one of you that do it. I very much appreciate that. So that being said, for those watching on YouTube, post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know what your thoughts on any of the topics I brought up in this podcast. You know, we've got so much stuff. The breaking news of Bray Wyatt. We had the NBA Finals. What you thought about that? NBA Draft. Major League Baseball trade deadline. What's going on with the Olympics? Simone Biles and everything going around her. So much stuff we talked about in this podcast. Let me know your thoughts down below. And for everybody, whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you're listening on your favorite audio podcasting channel, service, I should say, not channel. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. This is your boy AJTRIP signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. Once again, I'll be back. The next podcast will be again a dual podcast, both video and audio, and we'll be previewing and predicting the top 4 of the college football playoff. And I am out, guys. Thank you guys again.